everybody. I am Jason Dudey. Go ahead and laugh. Get it over with. I learned early on to lighten up. It's not going to be easy being a Dudey. So my mom is German, a military father. Oh, that is a lovey-dovey household. We're working up to a hug this year. We're gonna get there. I am a 43-year-old married gay man living with my husband in the glamorous hills of Milford, Pennsylvania. I know what you're thinking, like, how did you end up there? I started out in Reisterstown, Maryland, with my mom, my dad, my older sister. I gotta tell you, I had no idea what the word gay was, none. In hindsight, I should have. My parents' pinochle partners were Bonnie and Carol. Bonnie was the bank teller and Carol was the mechanic. I never caught on, never. The first time I heard the word gay was when Big Sam was dragging me home from the bus stop by the hood of my sweatshirt, calling me Gay Jay, Gay Jay. Now, I didn't know what Gay Jay meant, but by his tone and the other kids at the bus stop laughing at me, I knew I didn't want to be Gay Jay. Now, Big Sam was always picking on me, always pushing me off my bike, and I decided one day I was gonna get back. I didn't know how to get back. I'm not really a fighter, but I was practicing throwing punches at home, and my mom caught me. I thought she was gonna yell at me like she didn't want me to punch. She caught me, she was like, "No, Jason, you're doing it wrong." I was holding my thumbs inside my fingers, and she was like, "You're gonna break a thumb." She taught me how to throw a punch, and I practiced and practiced on the pillows, and I was ready. And that day came. Big Sam pushed me off the bike, called me Gay Jay, and I got up and I just started wailing on him. I ran home, I was so excited. I was like, "Mom, I hit him, I hit him." She was in the living room window, she goes, "And you hit him good." And about 2 minutes later, the doorbell rang, and it was Big Sam's mom. Yeah, Big Sam's mom said, "Mrs. Dudey, your son hit my son." And my mom said, "And from what I saw, he hit him good." Big Sam's mom was like, "What are you gonna do about it?" My mom said, "Absolutely nothing." And shut the door. Yeah. Now I will tell you, my parents still live next to Big Sam for 38 years. They've never spoken since that day, ever. Things were good for me in high school and middle school. I don't have that horrible stigma so many gay men do. I was popular. I was most talkative, most outgoing. I was popular with the ladies. I was. I went to 9 proms, 9. And one weekend I had a prom on Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. I had the same tux, and I would just switch out the cummerbund and tie to match the girl's ugly 80s dress. You know what I mean? Desert Rose, you know? Yeah. And come to find out years later, everyone's parents knew I was gay. I was a safe bet to take their daughter to the prom. You know what I mean? Like I might bring their daughter home drunk, but not pregnant, you know? My senior prom was held downtown Baltimore at the Hotel Belvedere. And we came out of the prom to leave, to get into our limo that we rented from the funeral home. It's tricky, you're like crossing your fingers, "Oh, I hope no one dies." And I look across the street and I see 2 guys holding hands walking down the street. I was like, never seen that before. And I heard some music, some disco music coming out of this bar. I look, there was rainbow flags. I didn't know what rainbow flags meant, but there was a lot of them. I didn't even know why this was important to me, but I knew enough to mental note. I looked up on Charles Street and Chase Street. All right, I need to know this intersection. I left the prom that night, graduated a week later or so. It was summer, it was my last summer. I was working at the mall at Sam Goody. Yeah. Thank you for calling Sam Goody during our Gotta Get a Gift and It's Gotta Be Good sale. This is Jason speaking, may I help you? And I started going out with my friend Shelly Boble. Now in Baltimore, everyone knows Maxwell's on Sunday nights is this club that's 18 and over. And one night at Maxwell's, in the corner, I saw a guy in a kilt, combat boots, and another guy in a Smith's t-shirt and a safety pin in his eyebrow making out. I said, "Shelly, look at that." She goes, "That's Joey Miranda, my gay friend." Like, that's what I am. I'm gay. The next week, I spent all week getting ready for Maxwell's. I was like, I'm going to Maxwell's. I'm gonna go talk to the gay people. I was so excited. Shelly picks me up and we're driving. On the way there, we're at a stoplight. And I opened my Bartles and James peach flavored wine cooler. When I figured out I was gay, I went for it. You know what I mean? I was like, well, I'm gay. I took a hit off my Benson Hedges Deluxe Ultralight Menthol. I looked at the car next to us. It was my mother. She just waved. I said, Shelly, we better have fun tonight because I'm not going out this summer. You know? When I got home, my mother was waiting for me. Waiting. She grounded me for life. I'm grounded now. I got to be in Baltimore by midnight. And I was allowed to work and come home. That was it. I was not allowed out of their sight. And I'm 18 years old. I can do what I want to do. And they were like, how? You know what I mean? Like, they took my car away, everything. I had nothing. I had this good friend, Lisa, from high school. And her mother was Gloria. I loved Gloria. Gloria sat in the kitchen all the time, and she had this makeup mirror with the lights. Remember, day, office, evening. I loved that mirror. Gloria sat there all day putting makeup on, smoking cigarettes, drinking Chablis. I was just like, I just want to be Gloria when I grow up. It was so glamorous. Well, one day, Gloria's job transferred her out of town for a year, 1 year. And she said, Jason, I don't want to sell the house, move myself, move Lisa for 1 year, and then come back. Would you mind living in our house with Lisa? I'd feel safer if she was with you. I went home and I told my parents, I said, look, this is it. I'm moving out. You can't ground me for the rest of my life. I'm leaving. And I went into my room and I packed everything that was important to me. Everything. Most important things I own. I packed it. Everything. And I went over to Lisa's house. Oh, I was so sad I noticed Gloria took the mirror with her. All my important stuff. So I'm living with Lisa. I'm starting college. I'm meeting people in college. I met this guy, John Paul Pashut. We became really good friends. He was older than me. One day, he said, Jason, can you give me a ride to the airport? It's like 5 a.m. And I was like, absolutely. If I can borrow your birth certificate and phone bill. That's all you needed to get a fake ID back then. That was it. I just went right to the DMV, got my little picture taken, and sat there, and they kept calling John Paul Pashut to the window, John, and I didn't move because I forgot my name. And that first night, I went down to Charles and Chase Street. I got a parking spot. I heard the music. I saw the rainbow flags. The name of the bar was the Hippo. And the first person I met at this gay bar, his name was Ben Williams. Come to find out, he was like a leather guy, but I didn't know that term at 18. He was wearing Levi's and motorcycle boots, and he had an eye patch, and he had a gray streak that went through his eyebrow, his mustache, and his hair, just straight down. It was hot, really. And Ben Williams said, come here, come here. I went up to him and he said, hi, I'm Ben Williams. And I said, I'm John Paul Pashut. And he said, is this your first time here? I was like, how can you tell? He said, it's not what it seems. Be careful. So I spent a lot of time with Ben. I went to the Hippo one night. Well, I went to the Hippo every night. And Ben wasn't there this night. And the next night he wasn't there, and the next night he wasn't there. And finally, I asked the door lady, I was like, where is Ben Williams? And she said, he's sick. I went to visit Ben every single day. We laughed, we talked, we cried. He told me stories about what it was like being gay in the 70s. It never crossed my mind to be scared, as all I saw was a human being that was dying alone. So much has happened in 6 months. One day, his mother, Dora, from Ohio, came to visit. And we all let her go in there by herself. Of course, it's her son. They need to have a moment. She's upset, right? Dora comes out of the room, and I hear her say, well, He deserves it for being gay. I had no idea that a human being could be like this. No one deserved what Ben was going through. I just started getting shit-faced. I really did. I just didn't give a shit. Because in my mind, at that young age, I thought, I'm gay, I'm gonna get AIDS, I'm gonna die. That's it. There's no other story. So just get shit-faced. And I just started getting drunk. I didn't give a shit. A couple weeks later, Ben passed away. And I will regret this forever. I was so drunk and so hungover, or a mixture of both, that I completely missed his funeral. But I just kept going to the Hippo, kept getting drunk. And one of these nights at the Hippo, I met this guy named Michael. And after a long courtship, about a minute and a half, we decided to be boyfriends. And I decided to move in with him. It took about a week, because he lived with his boyfriend, so we had to kick him out. And I moved in with Michael. I went back to Lisa's house, and I grabbed all my very important stuff. Everything was important, and I moved. I moved downtown. I moved down to the corner of Charles and Chase. I learned a lot from Michael. One night, I came home, and there was white powder on the kitchen counter. I had no idea. I was like, really? I just grabbed a sponge and started cleaning.
Oh, shit.
I didn't know. I had no idea. He was furious, right? With Michael, I learned about drugs and about alcohol and about threesomes and about cheating and about screaming and about having fights. It was crazy. We broke up one night at 3 o'clock in the morning. Some other guy was there. Cocaine was there. Blood was there. The cops were there. That's when I knew it was over. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't think we're gonna make it. And I had no one to call. I called my mother. My mother got out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and picked me up. And this is when I told her, by the way, I'm gay. This is my boyfriend, Michael. Don't get used to him. We just broke up. And can I come home with you? My poor mother, she told me, don't tell your father, just don't tell your father. And years later, I said, why did you say don't tell your father? She said, Jason, I thought it was a phase. Who could live that insane life for longer than a phase? So I was like, lots of us. So I ran around the apartment. The cops gave me 30 minutes to take my important stuff. Good, it was already packed. So I grabbed my box of important stuff, and I drove back with my mother to the suburbs. I was there at my mother's house for about 24 hours. And I was like, what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go? And then all of a sudden I remembered I had met this guy named Mark at the Hippo. And he wrote his name on a cocktail napkin and said, if you're ever in New York, call me. I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. The next morning I was like, Mom, can you give me a ride to the Greyhound bus station? She's looking at me like, are you insane? You just had cocaine, cops, a breakup, 3 o'clock in the morning, and here at 10 a.m., I'm like, can you take me to the bus stop? She says, sure, absolutely. You know what I mean? Get out of my house. So I packed my important stuff, very important stuff. It was already packed. And I moved to New York City. I called Mark's number. I said, Mark, it's Jason from the Hippo in Baltimore. He said, who? I hadn't lived in Los Angeles yet, so I thought when people said things, they actually meant it. After I've lived in Los Angeles, I know that's not the truth. And he said, okay, come on over. Oh, I had no idea. It was a 1928 firehouse, 3,600 square feet, converted into a loft apartment. We had a catwalk, disco balls, drag queens. It was fantastic. I loved it. It was Mark. Now, Mark had like 28 piercings above the waist. His boyfriend, Christopher, this guy, Steven or Stefan, depending on where you met him. A one-armed drag queen named Anita Arm. For real, for real. And this French girl named Solange. The real Solange, not Beyonce's sister, like Solange. They opened the door and I'm standing there in my best Baltimore outfit. Pleated khakis, a blue Oxford, like this. Brand new white Sperry topsiders. And they looked at me 1 second, they were like, oh no, this is not gonna do. They stripped me down, put on a new outfit, these skin tight pants, leather pants, these platform shoes that were layered, black and white, black and white, black and white, Doc Martens, a wife beater, and a chartreuse velour biker jacket. They dunked my head in the sink, and they were in the middle of dyeing my hair blue. I had been in New York City for an hour and a half. I loved it. Loved it. We went out that night. It was a Tuesday night. We went to Club Pyramid. It was fantastic. Remember Club Pyramid? Oh, I don't remember much of it. And it just started. It started being on the list, and these underground clubs and Club Robot, and it was crazy. I'd never seen anything like this. I loved it. I got a job that I worked Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday lunch, Saturday brunch. That was it. And that meant I got off Saturday at 3 o'clock and didn't have to be back till Wednesday at 3 o'clock. I was shit-faced for 4 days. I loved it. I was wide awake, moving fast, and we didn't eat back then. It was fantastic. I met all kinds of people. I started dating this guy, Brandon. He was so cute. And one night he said, Wednesday night, meet me at the Crowbar at midnight. I showed up. I was so cute. I was so excited to meet my new boyfriend. I knew because we were going to be together forever. And Brandon didn't show up. He didn't show up. I was like, what? I've been stood up at the Crowbar. It didn't matter. I just kept drinking. And then all of a sudden, the music started, the show started. This drag queen, the infamous Candace Kane, came out. Yeah, doing the dawning of the age of Aquarius. It was fantastic. I was mesmerized. And she comes around and she starts kissing me on the neck. Lipstick stains all over me. I loved it. And then all of a sudden she whispered in my ear. She said, Jason, it's Brandon. I'm dating a drag queen. Of course I am. I loved it. I had so much fun. There was so much going out. I drank and drank and drank and drank. That's all I did. One night I left the house on New Year's Eve, and I ended up in a hospital 2 days later in Lower East Side Manhattan called Governor's Hospital. And the dry erase board on the foot of my bed said John Doe. I wasn't raised to be John Doe. You know, I was scared. That was the first time I was scared about my drinking. I just thought things have to be different. And I remember my mom had told me, don't tell your father that you're gay. And at that moment I was like, you know what, no. I hadn't talked to my father in a couple years. I was like, I have to tell him. No matter what, I have to tell him. I called his office in Baltimore and they said, he's in Hartford, Connecticut. He came into the hotel and he was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, Dad, I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you now. We went to dinner in that hotel lobby and I looked at him and I said, Dad, I've got to let you know I'm gay. He said, okay. I was like, that's it? That's it? I've been paranoid about this for years. And I was like, maybe he didn't hear me. You know what I mean? So I'm gay. I said, he was like, I heard you. And I was like, but Dad, you don't understand all those dreams you had for me, the wife, the picket fence, the children, all those dreams that you had for me are not happening. He was like, I didn't have any dreams for you. Now I'm pissed, right? First thing he said to me was, well, it's gonna be hard to tell your mom. I was like, ooh. That's between you guys. Things started getting weird at the firehouse. Immediately things started getting weird. People started dying. We had friends in our apartment, drug overdose. And all of a sudden, like that, we all looked at each other and we're like, this is it, it's over. It's over. And we all moved out. Christopher and Mark stayed in New York City. Stefan or Steven went to wherever he was from that week. The one-armed drag queen got a job doing visual merchandising in Lower Manhattan. Who knew? And Solange went back to Paris. And I remembered I had worked with a girl at a restaurant that said, if you're ever in Los Angeles, call me. I packed up all my important things and I moved to Los Angeles. And I moved here with all my stuff. And I called Kelly and I said, Kelly, it's Jason. She said, who? Let's just say Kelly worked for herself. She had her own business and pharmaceutical rep and sold to a lot of gay men in West Hollywood. And she sold once to a cop. And so I got Kelly's apartment because she had to go away. And it happens. I get a job as a studio truck driver. 5-ton, 24 feet, 26,000-pound air brakes, okay? And I'm driving around Los Angeles in my truck. I was like, "Hey." I loved being a truck driver. I loved it. And I'm driving my truck one day, and I hit a tree, but it's no big deal. You know what I mean? It's a big truck. That happens, you know? I filled out the paperwork for my employer. That was at 9 a.m. At noon that day, I came out of a blackout on Beverly and Fairfax. Didn't know if I was making a left or going straight, so I took my hands off the steering wheel. I ran into the gas station. This is alarming to a lot of people. I got out of the truck and lit a cigarette, which, wow, did people go crazy. I lost that job. That was it. No. And I was okay with it. I was okay with it. You know, I couldn't pay the rent anymore on Kelly's apartment. So I had a good friend, really, really, really good friend. You know, one of those good people you meet, but you don't want to stay too close with them just because it makes you vulnerable. Like, he was that guy. And he was like, move in with me, Antonio. And so I grabbed my very important stuff that I've been carrying around since I was 18. And I moved in with Antonio. And I did work. I lived on unemployment. And I drank. I drank all day, every day. I just drank. It was fine. I didn't really leave the house. One day, he looks at me and says, Jason, you have to do something about your drinking, or I have to call your parents. Okay, they are no one to be calling about sanity, first of all. And he left. He just left. He went to work because a lot of people worked. And yeah, like I knew a lot of people that worked. And I just stayed at home and I finished that beer. And there was something about that beer, there was something about the way he said it. I've never had another beer since that date. I just stopped like that. I met new friends, I started doing new things. It was fun, like life started getting big again. And I got a job at that studio again. I had to work my way up. Let's just say they didn't let me drive. And Antonio encouraged me to start dating. Now, I had never dated. I told you how I dated. I met someone at a bar. I thought we were gonna be together forever, and it never worked out. So I thought I would do it different. So I started dating this guy, and we didn't have sex. It was horrible. It was awful. And but I thought I was doing the right thing. I was doing what you're supposed to do in society, you know? And so I left my apartment with Antonio. It was time for us to go. He had fallen in love. I had fallen in something. And so I grabbed all my important stuff. It was very important. And I moved in with Mike. Mike and I bought a house together off of Melrose, and it was perfect. Everyone wanted my life. Mercedes in the driveways, great vacations, perfect house, looked like a museum. It was empty inside. It was horrible. I just would lay in bed like, when is this over? We were not connected. He was 17 years older than me. He was on the downswing, let's put it that way. And he liked to get in bed at 9, and I was just having this new, sober life. I was like, I want to meet new people. I want to go and do new things. And it was just horribly uncomfortable for both of us. And one day, he just looked at me and said, Jason, I can't do this anymore. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Okay, bye. Whew. Grabbed my box of stuff, and I got my own apartment for the first time. It was a divorcee apartment. I loved it. I got a 2-bedroom apartment. I was gonna move in with my friend Ross, but that was in 3 months because Ross was locked up. And it was just a little embezzling. It was no big deal, but he needed a place to stay when he got out of prison. So I got a 2-bedroom apartment, and I got interviewed by his parole officer, and I offered him tea. I didn't know what a parole officer, he came to the house, and I was like, do you want some tea, a biscuit? Anyway, so I lived with Ross, and I spent a lot of time with Antonio. Antonio got sick. He got sick quickly, and he passed away within a month of getting sick. And I was like pissed, like it's not over. It's not over. And I just got pissed, and I cut myself off from society. I had to. I stopped dating. I threw myself into therapy. I was like, I gotta figure stuff out. I gotta get myself together before I can date anyone. So 4 years later, I decided, okay, it's time. It's time. And I turned on the grinder. I did. I was like, oh, that's busy, that's a lot. So I turned it off and put it away. Now, I didn't know you had to stay on it to talk to me. I didn't know, right? So I didn't open Grindr for a couple days. And I opened it up and I got a message from some guy 22 miles away. And he was cute too. And he said, do you have a better picture? And I was like, that is the best picture of my nipple that I have. Like, I don't have a better picture. And we started talking, and then one day he got serious. He was like, how about doing like cell phone numbers? I was like, oh, commitment. And we started texting. A couple weeks, he said, why don't we, go to dinner? And I was like, oh, okay, a little serious. And at that date, at that restaurant, I knew that second that my life was gonna change. I've heard that it happens. I've heard that people fall in love at first sight. But at that moment, I was like, oh. You know what I mean? Like you're happy, but you're like, ooh, it's gonna be a lot of work. And because I'm hard to live with. And I had no idea how much work it is. But I knew, and we dated and we took it very slow. We took it so slow. He rented an apartment 4 blocks from me because he didn't want to move in immediately. Really, 4 blocks, we're gonna waste money? Like, I'm a practical kind of guy. You know what I mean? Let's move in. I grabbed my box, and I moved in with Brian. And, 4 years later, we got married. And now thank you. And I'm living this life now in this small town. We say things like, I'm going into town, do you need anything? It's weird. I never knew that being in a relationship had nothing to do with being gay. I was so like, gay, I'm gay, I'm gay. It's just being in a relationship. So after being married, we've moved. I've still been carrying my box of very important stuff with me. I've carried it with me for 25 years, and I've never opened it. I have no idea what I thought was so important. And now I think about opening it and it doesn't matter what's it, like I don't need it. What I had to learn, the whole journey for me was not what I have in this box. It was learning what I have in here. This is the very important stuff. Thank you.